Hey guys, Jen here. So I look like a teenage boy, don't I? Um, it's wash day. I got a bunch of oil in the hair, so yeah. Anyways, these videos are not about me. They are about us learning and seeking truth wherever that may be found. So I found another channel that seems to be emulating mine almost word for word. And with this one, I'm not ever really offended or jealous. Sometimes it comes off as mockery, so I do get irritated. But with this woman, she's just a lot like me. She's standing for truth, she's seeking truth, and she's exposing evil, but also being the light. And I really appreciate that. And this time, I'm not going to mention her channel because I know sometimes the channels that I like are affected in a negative way when I like them in that regard. Because I do believe that all the people we see on the screen are played by proxies. Now, if some of my language gets lost on you, I am going to try and define things briefly and tell you why we're looking at this topic. And in order to do that, I have to bring up some other things that are going to seem unrelated just to get your mindset in the right place. I do that in every video. I also do not believe really in the TikTok bite sized videos unless it's for like DIY or animals and pets recipes. I feel like if you're going to broach a serious subject matter, then you have to give it the time that it deserves. And so if you find that to be irritating to you, this probably isn't the channel for you, at least not my live streams. I'm just going to check and make sure that it is streaming, and I know how my channel gets treated. So, because again, I do believe the people that we see on the screen are proxies. I believe people that I know have their hands in a lot of cookie jars, and one of them happens to be media. And I think one of them is YouTube. And I think that's why my channel is done the way that it is. So, I'm going to bring up a few things that might not seem to have anything to do with this, but I have a theory. And in order to give you this theory, I need to give you the background as to why I have this theory. Now, we've talked a lot on this channel about media literacy. The whole channel is pretty much about media literacy and removing the emotionality from these storylines and looking at them and saying, okay, what can I grasp from this? What are they hiding? What are they coding? What are they messaging and signaling to each other? And how can I prepare for that? Scripture, the good book does tell us to be wise as serpents, but gentle as doves. That is my problem with a lot of this too, is you see a lot of people on the screen saying that they follow Christ or saying that they're anything, a woman, a child, an honest person, rescuing animals when they're actually the ones putting them there after damaging them. So you see a lot of deception because the camera only shows you what the person behind the camera wants you to see. And sometimes again, we can glean things, we can take the symbolism and look at this. Um, I get a little distracted with the number thing. I got to find a way to get rid of that and just like talk. Now, I have something pulled up, but again, we have to have an intro here. We have to offer some context to people who may decide to watch the video and may step in and decide to see what it's about. I am contemplating just starting over because before the video started, I had a couple of bots like pounce on my channel. And I'm to the point now, like I think I'm just gonna start streaming without even setting it up, just go right into the live stream, not even giving myself that 10 minutes because it seems like that is doing some damage too. And it's discouraging when you do put a lot of time and effort into things like this, but that's the nature of the beast. This is their system. So it is my belief that a lot of what we're seeing now is damage control. I would like for you, if you are going to watch the rest of this video, to suspend any emotional involvement that you have with the human interest aspects of our current events. And I know that can be hard and difficult. I was once you. In fact, I was you just a few days ago when I pulled up my phone and suddenly I see somebody getting ended, allegedly. Now you're going to say, what do you mean allegedly? You know, and that's the thing, this defensive anger from people who allegedly don't even know this person. There is an agenda being driven home here, and it has happened before. And this is why I want us to touch on Watergate. Now, this is before my time. I was not born yet. I was not on the earth yet. Maybe I was, who knows, with all the resets. But um, it was before the day of my birth, and it was my mother's era, and even my husband's, my spouse, whatever he is, even his era. So I know some of it, but again, we're looking at this from the purpose of media literacy. What are they trying to do here? Now, I want to touch on a couple of things. Number one, all of the celebrities that you are seeing now in this time, they all have something in common. Let's play the Sesame Street game. One of these things doesn't belong. What do they all have in common? All of the people that we've seen take center stage since about 2018. Well, they're all B actors. They're all people who either were has-beens, and I'm sorry to say it that way, but I'm just using euphemisms here to relate to you guys so you understand what I'm talking about. Everyone that we're seeing take center stage again is either an old head, somebody that's had their time, has already had their prime, someone we didn't see in the spotlight and is suddenly back. Um, oh, oh, I don't know why it does that. Are we okay? Okay, we're okay. All right. So everyone we've seen on the screen since about 2018 when Rona began is either a has-been and a hack, or it's somebody little, like somebody not good at their craft, not a very good actor. They also started saying around that same time, around 2018, the media and politicians started using the term openly bad actors. And again, this all has a personal connotation for me, so it's very surreal to talk about all of these things. I get through them the best that I can because I do believe that our personal, and that's what some of this is about, our personal lives affect those around us. And that's why I do this, because I don't think people should be brought to a state of life-changing and altering circumstance because of something they see on the screen, because of people that you'll never meet. They'll never buy you dinner. They'll never make you dinner. They'll never change your kid's diaper. They'll never take your kid to soccer practice. They will never tuck you in when you're sick. These people are people that you will likely never ever meet. And no offense to you, but they could care less about any of us. A lot of what you see on the screen is for their own amusement and occupation. They have to have something to do. And again, that gets into the supernatural and spiritual aspect of what is the driving force behind all of this. So another thing that we've noticed since 2019, and I don't think people understand the seriousness of legalities and law. Before 2018, you would have never seen compilation videos because there were copyright issues. It would not have been allowed. There would be none of that. That's why there's a problem with TikTok, guys, and now YouTubers. You have these people pulling other people's material and they're not getting consent. They're not giving their names. They're not even giving their channel names, their usernames, none of that. You wouldn't have seen that. Something else you wouldn't have seen before like 2017 or 2018 is witnesses giving interviews to the public and speaking even on social media about said event until the police had interrogated them or had finished with their inquest. Now think about a public event. You've got hundreds or thousands of people there. Every one of those people has to be tracked down. Every one of those people has to be tracked down and interviewed by police, by investigators, by FBI, depending on how high up this goes. Think about that. Really think about it. This is the problem with cell phones, and this is why I think they went digital, and this is why this will be the only reason. I don't think the whole grid will go down, but I do believe the internet will go down, and I think that's going to happen very soon, which is why I'm kind of doing videos that I normally wouldn't do. Like politics, I could care less about, because again, these people have never come to my jobs. They've never paid my paychecks. They've never taken my kids to the doctor. I don't know these people. And you'll say, well, that's irresponsible. That's your knee-jerk reaction, because that's what you've been told. You've been told they fought for your right. They fought for your right. I didn't need anyone to fight for my rights. My rights come from above. Do you see what I'm saying? And I respect my neighbors enough not to go and try and steal their things when I know it's something of theirs, and that's a whole nother video about morality that I have talked about. Something else you would not have seen. You would have seen gag orders. You also would not have seen the ending of people. Let me be very clear about this. There are laws, both spiritual and man-made laws. You cannot show a deceased person until and unless all of their relatives have been notified and you've gained consent to do so. I have reported this short that shows an alleged junkie deceased. He's got flies coming out of his face, and it is still up on YouTube, and somebody has monetized that poor man's death. Well, who cared? And I don't, if you have that attitude, you are the problem. I'm not even going to say you're a part of the problem. You are the problem. And I do not believe in violence. I do not promote gratuitous violence, like at all. If you're going to protect your family, that's a non-negotiable, right? Like most of us understand that. What I'm talking about here is violence for the sake of violence, or for people that are agitating you, stirring the pot on purpose because they want this race war, because Albert Pike, the leader of the Freemasons, wrote about it in the 1770s. Something else that you would have never seen before about 2018, and this is how you know the people, this is how you know that the people who took over, I don't think it registers. I think it's trying to go to sleep. I don't think it registers that I'm like streaming. Sorry about that. So I'll have to remember to like do that every now and again. I apologize. I'm trying not to look at the screen because I don't want to worry about numbers or if anybody's watching or any of that business. Okay, so you would have never seen these things, okay? Something else you wouldn't have seen was somebody's death or passing being copywritten. If you watch a certain speech with a certain woman at a certain podium on a certain channel from a couple of days ago, and I can't really talk about that right now because it angers me as somebody who's lost people to that type of violence at a very young age, and it affected who I am every day. I can't talk about her or that right now because I don't want to be emotional, right? You don't see somebody copywriting that, okay, with the Turning Point logo. It's just not done. It's all in such bad taste. And that's how you can, like, it's all WWE and WWF. And the acting is just as bad. And I can't, and here's how they get you. Here's how they hook you. Right now, somebody's screaming at me through their screen or furiously typing into their keyboard, "How dare you, a man lost his life." And that is tragic. But so did Catholic school children, and so did Christian camp members, and so did Appalachian ancient families from the founding of America, lost people this year. So excuse me, if I'm not falling all over myself for some idol that I'm not even sure actually exists. And I'll get into that again in a minute. Something else you wouldn't have seen before 2017 or 2018 would have been all of these executive orders. Well, you did see it started kind of with Obama a little bit. Okay. You also wouldn't have seen infomercial type of ads on AdSense on YouTube, right here on YouTube, with people like Oprah and Taylor Swift and Dr. Phil, these big names, right? Their brand is their everything. They don't make a step without having it insured and being paid for it. Understand that their brand is themselves, and that's why I'm against people who brand themselves online and they don't understand what they're doing, because I started down that road and it utterly decimated my life, which is another reason I do this. Okay, so you would not see Oprah giving her face to some AI thing for some kombucha or whatever it is, the tea that you see in the commercials on before YouTube ads, before YouTube videos now. You would not have seen this years ago. Did I take your? I did take that off, right? Okay. I just had to make sure he was okay over there. Their brand is their face. They don't do anything without being paid for it. Now, at the beginning of Rona, Oprah went into lockdown and so did her significant other. And I don't think we've seen the real Oprah since then. You see, because they're blaming Oprah for things. That would be slander. Okay, legally speaking, and this is all about legalities here. This video is about the law. You would not have seen any of this stuff, guys. They would still be running an inquest because of the amount of people that were in the audience. And I don't even want to get started on the audience. The audience is the biggest tipping point for me to see that it's a fake, even if it didn't have all the 33s and the black and white and all that stuff. Put all that aside. Put all that aside. The audience is the clincher for me because I think most of it's AI and they're using clips, bits. They're and this is why editing is of the devil. They're using bits from a variety of different audiences and they're inserting it in this. And people are paying attention. Again, this is how you know you're dealing with amateurs here. Somebody has taken over the country who is trying to pretend to be American, who is trying to pretend to be human, but very clearly and I can't stress this. I'm trying so hard not to be animated these days, but very clearly, obviously, we have a lot of individuals running around pretending, playing pretend, and they're very, very bad at it. I was told maybe 2 years ago that I was one of the last ones left like me. And again, I know when I hear these clues now, this is why people avoid me kind of. This is why they don't talk to me, because I pick up on things now that are in the spirit. And I was like, you're right. Like, I am one of the last ones left. And I don't know in what regard that means. I don't know if it meant, I think it meant my family name because I think I'm hidden where I'm at for a reason, but that's, again, a whole nother video. But I think you are too. I think a lot of us are. Okay, so you would not have seen any of these things happening because there's laws, guys. If I had a relative and they were being shown over and over and over again on TV, they're passing, I would not allow that. And I would make the public respect that. You're not going to keep showing my husband like JFK. No, there would have been no explanation. I don't have to let you see it. My husband lost his life. It's traumatic for me. It's traumatic for my children. It doesn't need to be out there. You're allowed to do that. And again, this is how you know you're dealing with someone also who has been made a character of. They've been branded. And this is bad. This is like when Princess Leia died, Carrie Fisher, the studio that she was with cashed in on life insurance for her, even though it had been eons, literally almost, since she had produced or been in anything for them. because they have insurance on everybody. And this is why producers, executives, corporations, we are all a commodity here. And when you become a liability, okay, so I wanted to get your head frame where it needs to be. Everything you're seeing now is damage control. How do I know this? It all goes back to the missing kids and the missing children. And I'm not talking about Epstein. I'm not even going to touch on that. That's not what I'm talking about. Well, I might touch on it indirectly. Um, it all goes back to the missing children. They know that people like me, that other targeted individuals have picked up on what is happening. That for whatever reason, our discernment was turned way up, and we were suddenly like, wait a second, I keep seeing these same people in my life over and over and over again, towns and states apart, years apart. That's just one example. They will say it's God. They will tell you too that they have no shame in telling you that it's God. But targeted individuals picked up on something that I think has been happening for a very long time, since at least 1972, in a little scandal called Watergate. Now, Pockets of the Future did a video in 2017 or 18 about the Grammys when Tom Hanks was at the podium and Charlize Theron was presenting him with an award. I'll never forget it. She was in a green dress and she got so excited with Duper's delight that she bowled over on the stage. He said, "The gate is open. I repeat, the gate is open." Now, he said this like it didn't belong in his speech. Okay. There's a reason they use that term for a lot of things. It is a way to use energy. It is a way to, a gate means portal, right? Or it's something that is keeps something in or keeps something out. Excuse me. For Tom Hanks to say the gate is open, he meant something very serious. And another thing to consider is there's a lot of people who are, because they don't understand sovereignty, because they don't understand the times we're in, because they gave consent without understanding, because maybe their consent was superseded, because God allowed something to happen. There are a lot of people getting sick right now with the big C. I'm not a doctor. No part of this is medical advice. My disclaimers are in the description box as always. I told you this was coming. And I told you they could give that to people. All you need is a mutant cell. If you look up the definition of the big C, that's what it is. That may have been done to me. And I still don't know how this is going to play out yet. I have nothing left to lose by telling you these things. But a lot of them, I've just now come to a place where I can better explain them. Now, if we're talking about media literacy, Watergate is all about what we can pull away from it. Something else to keep in mind is when Maleficent was big, they with Angelina Jolie, she told us and they told us about celebrities selling their image and it being used to create movies with using CGI and with green screens. A couple of Super Bowls ago, Lady Gaga come out and told us about holograms. Everything I just told you, none of that is filler. None of that is an intro. It all matters in what I'm about to talk about. And it's not going to be, it shouldn't be a long video. The longest part is what I just gave you. Think of all of these things. Don't think of the people necessarily. Don't think of your heroes. Put these facts together. Take the celebrity out of it. Take the country, the patriotism, take all that stuff out of it. Because I'm seeing some really cheesy channels as well, grifting off of this. Men all souped up like cowboys. Like, what am I seeing? What are we doing? I miss space time, MySpace, when kids didn't know they were being filmed, or they did and they were still kind of shy. This has done something to us, and it's not a good something. Now, I'm going to share a screen with you. And I know I just went on and on, but I had to. Hi, thank you guys for being here. I'm going to share a screen and briefly tell you what this is about. Everything I just gave, considering, and I didn't even use this man in my title, the Charlie Kirk. I'm not going to use his name. I used it once the other day, but and I don't make money on YouTube, quite obviously, but it just seems wrong on so many levels. Like, I'm not going to promote their grift. I'm not going to promote the traumatizing of a nation all over again. And this is about loyalists. Everything that you're seeing that they did is damage control, and it is to get this new generation under their belt so that they become loyalists, so that they devote themselves to the cause blindly without asking questions, so they can get rid of our generation. Don't believe me? I think everything I've said since 2018 on both channels has come to pass, and that just nothing to make me happy, because that does not bode well for my personal situation and the things that God has relayed to me. Trust me when I say you don't want to be me. And this is why I don't even get mad when people take the information and run with it. If you can explain it in a better way and teach it, please do that, because people need to and when you wake up a sleeper, always tell you don't wake somebody who's sleepwalking, and it's hard. You like they do get angry, they get mad. So that's why I don't do the end and then dig into it. I'm going to give you my theory now, and then I'll tell you what Watergate is or was. Here's my theory. If you're new here, especially, you might not have heard this before. It is my theory that we have been monitored my whole life, our generation. And I was born in the late 70s. Yeah, I don't know how else to say it. I believe shows like Ghost Hunters were to tip us off. A lot of people imagine living under a police state like 1984 or Logan's Run or Running Man and knowing it. Hunger Games. It makes you very untrusting. I believe our parents, some of them knew, but they were so fearful every day of their lives. And this comes with the occult too. And we know that they were looking into all these things in World War II. Like, that's something it really can't be hidden at this point. Um, and there's nothing wrong. Again, it is God does hide things. And that's why he says a king seeks it out. If you really want, and king does not mean male or female in that sense. It means like be bold, right? If you really want the truth, you make sure you know what you're asking for. Okay, so I believe we've been monitored our whole lives. I believe that cell phones and tablets have been around since I was a kid. I remember seeing a couple of them, and I was not rich. We were not wealthy people. My mom had her own business, but they were constantly fighting about money. Like, it was always about money. And we lived in like a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom house. It wasn't like we didn't. Anyways, I believe that tablets and cell phones have been around. I believe we have grown up in a police state. I believe that because so many of us are waking up now, they have to do this damage control campaign, but they also have to get our children and their children strictly under the MK Ultra aspect of this and get them to be blind loyalists without asking any questions. Good little soldiers of the state, not of the parents, not of the nuclear family. The American experiment is indeed over. And I could go so deep with that about how the landmass is not what they tell us it is, about how, a lot of these things don't even probably exist. Just, I could get really deep with that. I believe the Watergate scandal was revealing to the American public what was happening on a massive scale. I believe, much like with art, in times of great censorship, you will see artists, comedians, actors have more freedom with they're allowed to give away truths because they're entertaining too, and the elite class likes to be entertained, so they put up with them for as long as they are useful, right? That's just like a roasting. Some people can roast the president, some people can't. Do you see what I mean? So I believe the Watergate scandal was to subliminally inform the American public of what was happening and what had been happening in our country probably since its inception, if you can even call it a country, and I don't want to get into that right now. They say that Israel is the size of New Jersey. You figure it out. Why were all those drones seen above New Jersey right when there was allegedly a drone war in Gaza and Ukraine? You figure it out. Why did Sean Penn give Zelensky his Emmy? Come on, guys. None of this is worth getting. The biggest part that we should be upset at is being lied to on this level. And it's also very possible that our ancestors, when they left or whatever happened, instated some type of AI police state as a way to keep us until we no longer needed it to serve us. And again, I know some of this is going to go right over people's heads. That's okay. Planting seeds. When you plant a seed, it doesn't sprout right away, right? You don't even know. Sometimes you forget. Sometimes you just happen to drop a seed and it grows weeks later. So the Watergate scandal was a major political scandal in the United States involving President Richard Nixon's administration between 1972 and 1974. What does this have to do with Kirk? Well, because with the Charlie Kirk incident, they're gonna make public surveillance, much like they did with the Kanika Jenkins debacle, her alleged ending. And I don't like, my heart is still like in that story, so I don't know what to say about that. But much like that, nobody ever picked up on, hey, wait a second, why are there these boxes around everybody walking around in the hotel? Like nobody asked, wait, we have facial recognition already? What's going on here? That was them trying to tell us this is what's happening. It's already here. Okay? So we're going to look at the stories and pull back the details. The devil's in the details. We don't care about the celebrity. We don't care about the people right now for the sake of this video. We care about the details. All right? And I believe that with the Charlie Kirk incident, they're going to say we now have to have facial recognition. Beyonce's been having it bio recognition when you come in, and I think they probably, knowing Vegas and the Biodome, they probably have it there, in order to go see a show. And it's the little red box that shows up around a person or around their face, and then their name comes up, and it's total minority report. But that's the thing. We've had this. It's been here. Ghost hunters. When they go around saying, and I like the original ghost hunters because they debunked more than they proved anything. They were like, oh, you've got EMF, signal coming in here. Nobody ever thought to ask, well, what's it coming from? Where's it coming from? It's in the walls, guys, because we're in dystopia. We already live here. It just, again, things look sometimes different in real life than they do in your imagination, right? With everything that happened with Charlie Kirk, they're going to use that story as a form of damage control. They have to come open with all of this now, like it's all brand new, and get the public in on it and supporting of it. And then people like me are still outcasts. We're still crazy. We're still this. We're still that. But this is what targeted individuals have picked up on. Some people are just really sensitive to electronic stimuli. And especially people like me, when you fast or you remove certain magnetic aspects to your diet, you have I don't want to call them spidey senses, but like the hair in the back of your neck standing up, when you're being watched. That's a big part of what targeted individuals are feeling. It is stuff that has been here for a long, long time. But again, I'm not sure if we put it here to police ourselves until we didn't need it anymore, until we grew as a species, But instead, we have people getting caught up in celebrity, getting caught like they at this point, I'm convinced at this point that people want to be lied to, that they want to be in their blissful ignorance, that they want everything to be a competition and some WWF drama. That's what they want. They want to be given a show. But why are they doing all this? Why are they going to this great effort? Well, because number one, people picked up on it. Number two, and this is the other aspect, pretty sure Oprah, she was a real person. Like, I'm pretty sure. Where is she that she is not suing these people for slander, talking all this junk about her and Hawaii, or using her image for these, corny YouTube ads, the AI ads? Where are they? Where did they go? Are they just no longer in America? Some knew what was coming. And I've been talking about this for a long time, that we were infiltrated and there's a Trojan horse. What's sad is our enemy that came in might actually be more our friend than the one that's already been here. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Okay, so the Watergate scandal was a major political scandal in the United States involving President Richard Nixon's administration between 1972 and 1974. It began with a burglary at the DNC, the Democratic National Committee headquarters in the Watergate office complex, that's why it's called Watergate, and led to Nixon's resignation under the threat of impeachment. Now, if you know Michael J. Fox, his show that he came up on, the sitcom, Family Matters? No. No. Anyways, the Michael J. Fox show, he was a really big fan of Nixon, and he was always tore up about what happened. You can learn a little from sitcoms like that because, again, they give you just enough information to inform you. Now let's read about this because this isn't actually the important bits, but again, we're going to take the details and look at those. On June 17th, 1972, there you have the 17 and 72 again. Okay? Those are big numbers in all of this. 5 men, 5G, 5 guys, I could go on and on, were arrested for breaking into the DNC office in the Watergate complex. They were caught wiretapping phones and stealing documents. I don't know who's going to see this video. So wiretapping is basically when the FBI bugs, when they listen in, when they surveil your landline. But that takes effort. Like what they showed in the movies was guys coming into your house, under false pretenses, like a plumber, an electrician, the cable guy, right? And they fiddle with things. And while they're back there, that's a big part of what happened to me, or at least when I started realizing things. So that's what they mean by wiretapping. So think of this, right? The DNC, 5 men were arrested. They got caught for breaking into the office. They were caught tapping the phones and stealing documents. Now, most of what we see again is damage control, but I believe this story was to tip off the American people without without coming right out and saying it. Because again, when you're in times of war, people are scared. They have families that they're caring for that they don't want to get harmed. It's not that I don't care about my family. It's that my family has a different allegiance and they're going to be just fine. They'll be fine. I've lost everything. I lost my relationship with them. I lost the vision. I lost my blissful ignorance. So, and not even like this is our job. We're obligated to help those that come after us and behind us. And if you don't recognize that obligation yet, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not sorry, but what is happening here? Is it a black screen? Tell me it's not a black screen. Nobody's telling me it's a black screen. Hold on, it might just be my phone. It likes to do that. Yeah, it's just my phone. Okay. So, let's get through this. The men were connected to Nixon's re-election campaign, specifically the committee to re-elect the president, CREEP. Now, it's possible that these men were caught willingly because maybe they didn't like Nixon. Maybe something happened that he was no longer under their control. We don't know. We're not going to assume that far into things. We're, again, just going to look at the details. It's ironic that it was called CREEP, though. The Nixon administration immediately took steps to cover up the White House's involvement, which initially appeared successful, and Nixon was reelected in a landslide victory in November 1972. Now, you could also go very deep with this into the prior administration and what happened with the agreements that were allegedly made between aliens and our president and our military. Investigative journalism, back when it at least looked like it existed. Reporters Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein of the Washington Post linked the burglars to the Nixon administration. See, again, they could have just been wanting rid of him and uncovered a broader political espionage campaign. Their anonymous source, and you hear this on X-Files a lot, Deep Throat, was later revealed to be FBI Deputy Director Mark Felt. And this was huge. Like, this was a big scandal. Big, right? And that's the problem. Like, today you have all of these things that are going on, and you wouldn't have seen any of this. You because of legalities, because of just people's good sense, you wouldn't see pictures at a funeral home. And I don't know. Something's really wrong with people that they think some of these things are okay. And they're going to yell at you. They're going to say, "What's wrong with you? Somebody lost their life." And that's the gaslighting. That's how they get people to shut up. You can't, though, just like with the V in the arm. You have to stand firm in truth. That's why they keep doing these things, because we keep changing the game because we're calling them on their crap. That's why I keep doing it, because I know somehow, some way, this channel has a butterfly effect happening and other people take it and run with it. And I'm okay with that. The more people that are informed, the better chance we have of coming out of this with all our teeth and all our limbs and not, hacking away at each other like we're still cavemen. Yes, I have soda sometimes. Sorry, I have it too much lately, but I've quit a lot of other things, so sometimes it's hard. I do have water here too, though. Okay. So, state hearings. Public pressure led to a bipartisan Senate investigation in 73. The hearings were broadcast live on television, revealing the existence of secret Oval Office tape recordings. Now, that's what I want you to focus on. Oval Office tape recordings. Now, I need to look at you guys for a second, or at least know I'm looking at the camera. All right, so I'm going to tell you about how this is done, because I don't want to go to pulling up a bunch of different things right now. I kind of just want to talk to you guys, citizen to citizen, doing our due diligence here and tearing these things apart. How can this be done? Okay, so there's a movie with Joan Crawford, and it's a black and white, guys. It's before this ever happened. It's in probably the 50s or 60s. Back then, desks were just like televisions, because they were tube televisions. They look like giant desks. Wooden desks were like a sight to behold. Now, you think of the Oval Office and you think of the desk that you always see the president behind. There's a space for his legs, sure. But in the original Oval Office, which I don't think we've seen in many years, they showed us it's a set. How much more do they have to show people? Oh, and they make fun. Oh, look what Biden built. Look what he built. He didn't do that. He didn't do that. It's been there. It's been a part of the psyop for a long time. Again, I think these people, if you don't got Oprah and Dr. Phil coming out suing people for, the stuff they're saying or calling them on their stuff, people big like that, something is going down. Either the movie companies are calling in their insurance policies on all these high profile, high paying celebrities, or they're underground. Like, I don't know what else to say at this point. There's so many people, even celebrities, that I have not seen outside since Rona started. I mean, think about it. And some of them might look like they're outside, but are they really? And then you get into knowing things like, well, Studio City is in LA. It's nothing but entertainers. It's where what's his face was just arrested for running around into skivvies. How many cities do you think are like that across the United States? Chicago is definitely one. Everything that goes down in Chicago. New York, that's definitely one because it used to be nothing but performers. Because you have Broadway there, all the soap operas back in the day were filmed there. Not to mention, daytime TV used to cater to women. Now it's catering to the men. And you have this political stance that's somewhat like wrestling and White House representatives that look like Playboy models. And I'm not lying, like they do. It's all bread and circus. It's all meant to entertain, but we do have friends because they give us these tips. Now, back when these desks were real huge and they were wooden, you could actually lift the top like a school desk, and there would be giant recorders in there. I'm not kidding. Like the films you would see in science class, like around the reels, like giant. And all you'd have to do, like you'd be sitting behind the desk, flick a little switch underneath, and you could start recording your business meeting with this person. And this is how blackmail became to be known about. Um, Anyways, let's continue on. My mom owned video stores. I've seen way too much media, and it's a passion of mine. I want to know how they do things. I want to figure it out. I want to take things apart. And that has served me well. Other people will say you're too analytical, you're too sensitive. Why are you judging everything? What they're calling judgment, what most of the secular world calls judgment, is discernment. It's just you discerning what's happening. It's not judging. You're discerning the situation. As well you should. Anyone in the military will tell you to read a room before you enter it or as you're in it. You know, if you feel like you're in danger, you probably are. Like these are common things that they're telling us to ignore at this point. Don't listen to your gut. It's wrong. It's never right. Don't listen to your heart. It's wrong. It's never right. Those things, they're not true. Okay, so the tapes, the revelation of the White House taping system led to a legal battle culminating in the 1974 Supreme Court case United States versus Nixon. The court ruled 8-0 that Nixon must turn them over. Smoking gun. When Nixon released the final tapes, one recording known as the smoking gun tape proved that he had ordered the cover up just days after the break in. With his political support gone, members of his own party urged him to resign. Members of his own party. They wanted to replace him. You can tell how this reads. He's the scapegoat, right? And I mean, if you can't tell the basics by now, like again, you're on the wrong channel. Resignation and people, you can call me dumb. I don't care. You can call me ugly. I know I'm not the prettiest girl. I don't care what you call me anymore. Like it just doesn't bother me. I love you and I pray for you. And that's genuinely how I feel about everybody. And I don't want to see people going out doing violent things to each other because of characters on a screen that genuinely probably don't even exist. And I love watching the love story, their little love story and stuff. Yeah, it looks like it was all filmed on the same day. It doesn't look like there was any time lapse between any of it. No different haircuts, no different aging happening there. And she looked different. Like looking at, and I know women change as we have babies because I am one. That's not what I'm talking about. Like she looks different. And everybody knows in my day, when I was a kid, everybody had a double. You could go get a job in Vegas as a performer, as a double. There were Cher and Elvis doubles everywhere. All right. Do you really think that the political people don't have those? Somehow, whether it's clone or an android, whatever you got going on. Okay, so on August 9th, 1974, Nixon resigned, becoming the first and only U.S. president to do so. His successor, Gerald Ford, pardoned Nixon a month later for any crimes he may have committed as president. Gee, much like you saw happen recently with a few things. The controversial pardon was widely believed to have cost Ford the 76 election. Wouldn't doubt that. Dozens of, and see, this is how it works. One guy gets off the last guy, so nobody actually serves for it. It's brilliant, kind of. Nobody actually does time for any of it. Dozens of Nixon administration officials were indicted and convicted for crimes related to the scandal, including Attorney General John Mitchell and White House aides H.R. Haldeman and John Ehrlichman, back when they used to be men. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not being sexist, it's a fact. Okay. Lasting impact, public distrust. Watergate significantly eroded public trust in government and created a lasting public cynicism towards politicians. It's happening again. We are all disillusioned with the system. The illusion is collectively breaking down. They have to create little soldiers, little loyalists. They have to, just like God, they have to have blind faith. Faith is belief without sight. They want you to have faith in government and faith in God. They'll get rid of they're making God in their image here. I've watched some of Mr. Kirk's debates at this point. These people say that they're godly, a lot of them. Christ was not like that. Christ would not have told you to lock up the homeless. He wouldn't have said that. He just wouldn't have. What did he say? Feed the hungry, clothe the naked, house the homeless. He never said to do anything against anyone's consent either. They are put there to be idols for the human interest aspect, to get our attention, to get the attention of this newest generation, and to get them under thumb. You got a beautiful woman now who has left. It's a beautiful story, like human interest story, but no grieving woman acts like that. I didn't actually lose my family, and I dropped off the internet. Like I still haven't done much of anything with my life. That's not, and I'll go one further to say it was also well known when I was a child, because my mom would tell me all the time, Jen, it's not real. Certain things, not the things she should have. Oftentimes the children they're actors too. People's parents get them into that at a very young age, okay? That's why you often see too, and I won't get into that aspect of twins and all that either, but oftentimes the children aren't even the couple's children. Oftentimes the couple isn't even a couple. It's a front, especially if one of them is gay. And I'm not going to get into that right now. Again, they do what they got to do to get your signature. And it's not because votes matter, because they already have that figured out behind the scenes. They want to see which way you lean, and they want your sovereignty. They want that. All these men that are out there and say they don't believe in Jesus because why? Well, I believe in keeping my own sovereignty, my own spiritual authority. Do you vote? Same thing. You're giving it away. I'm giving mine to God. You're giving yours away. So what do I think this story told us? This story was to tell the American people that this is not just an in-house thing. It was being told to tell you everybody was under surveillance. Now check this out. In response to the abuse of power, because again, there's always a response. This is why Nixon did no time, you see, because it's all an act. This is why they always choose actors, because actors are good actors. People believe them. That's the problem. Ronald Reagan was an actor. He was a president. Arnold Schwarzenegger was an actor, albeit a terrible one, but he has charisma. And now he's a governor. Jesse Ventura was a wrestler, then he's a governor. How many more do I need to go over before you get it? I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at our situation that people pay this much of their attention to this garbage and they allow it to tear apart their family. It's garbage. Just because people want something to argue about, just because people want to have like mine, yours in this competition. Not everything has to be a competition. Why can't we just have a barbecue and have a barbecue? Why can't we have a baseball game without keeping score? And I know there's a lot of men out there that love this, that are based in a bad way. Based is not a good thing. Don't you want some part of life that's genuine? Aren't you sick of everything being a facade? So here's the response, and this is what we have to worry about with the Charlie Kirk situation is what is their response going to be? But again, it's all damage control, and I'm going to tell you why in a second, and it's very dark. So just understand that when we get there, we get there. Well, we'll be there in a second after this because I don't have to dive into much of this. I'm telling you, media literacy, they were telling me, all of us, you're under surveillance. This is how, if we can get into the White House, because some of those tapes, they wiretapped the actual White House, guys. They're telling you. I got wax or something in my ear. I'm sorry. It's been a terrible week for my sinuses and my back. But I knew this video was important, and I'm doing my best to bring all of these bits that go together because you can be mad, but the stuff you're mad about isn't the stuff you should be mad about. So, in response to the abuses of power, Congress passed a series of reforms designed to increase transparency and limit executive power. These included amendments to the Freedom of Information Act and the establishment of the Presidential Records Act, which made presidential records public property. Boom. That means we got some digging to do because I'm pretty sure we haven't had a president in a couple of terms here, or at least we didn't have one change hands in 2020. But again, that's a whole different thing. Presidential Record Act makes presidential records public property. You have no right to hide anything because it's all ours. Your public servants. This is how you know somebody has taken over who doesn't understand law, doesn't understand legalities, doesn't understand politics, doesn't understand humans. Because I am all of those things and I hate politics. I don't know much about it or history. I'm being very honest. I'm more of a philosophy arts girl. Sorry, it's just who I always was and am. But I'm definitely a word girl and I'm definitely a legalities girl and I can research like nobody's business. You mean to tell me Presidential Records Acts. Presidential records are public property. Doesn't say when it starts, when it ends. Just says they're public property. There's another gift TikTok. Please run with that. Somebody else, not me. Political lexicon. The suffix "gate" has since become a standard fixture in the political lexicon for referring to scandals as seen in Bridgegate or Irangate. What was Watergate in simple terms for anyone who's just joining or decides to fast forward or whatever they do? It began on 6/17/72 when members of a group associated with Nixon's 1972 re-election campaign were caught burglarizing and planting listening devices in the Democratic National Committee headquarters at Washington, D.C.'s Watergate complex. Did they ever get rid of all those? I mean, I'm just asking questions. Did they ever get rid of them? All right, so you're going to ask me, why do you think they've had this all along? What makes you think that they're surveilling us? And why are you calling the situation now that we're dealing with damage control? Okay. So, if I'm right, why is this a big deal or whatever? Because then they'll have to explain a lot about crime, about most importantly, though, like most relevant to us right now, is they're going to have to explain where all these missing people went because they have us lockstep and like everywhere we go. They already know. There really, I don't think are any, what do they call it? When you're driving and you gotta, geez, I can't think today. Anyways, they know everything. They know where we go. They know where we shop. They know all these things. And I think they have known for a long time. And again, whatever we have going on here, whatever changed in 2017, that things were kind of passed down to this other generation, you're not good actors. You're terrible at this, in fact. You're not even good at pretending to be human. I don't know if you lost your humanity somewhere along the lines. I don't know if you're just AI creations on the screen, but I deal with this in real life too. And this is what we get from monkey see, monkey do. Everybody sees how everybody else is behaving. They're thinking it's okay and acceptable, so they do the same. You wouldn't have saw any of these things. And I almost do refer to it as another world now. Like the place I come from and my people weren't this stupid. And I don't know how else to say it. They weren't this dumb. They would have never believed these things. Not in a million years. I honestly don't know what it is either. It's got to be the daily grind and something to do, but I really think like there's something in the water and food. Because you would have never seen this. You wouldn't have saw somebody who just lost their spouse giving a speech. I don't even think you saw that with Jackie O. All she did was stand and she allowed Onassis to get sworn in or whatever. No, her last name was how did that work anyway? Anyways, she just stood there as he was sworn in. She didn't say anything. She had the dark sunglasses from moment one. And he gets shot and she starts trying to get out of the car. So obviously it doesn't seem like it was planned. Or she was trying to get away, which is another aspect. Again, people are still too emotional about that, and it's not even our generation. So their love story probably never happened. They're probably not actually married. I'm not sure that I'm not sure. How do I say this? I did a video on a wrestler and his woman. You know, women are inordinately, they are techs. I don't know how or why, but there's a lot of women in the tech field. Our tech at Huntington, when I worked there, used to be a female. And I was a tech for a cell phone company. I was a floor tech, though, over the phone. There's a lot of handlers in the public eye. And I did a video. I can't remember the guy's name. I think he was Jackson. And it's down here in the regular uploads because it's like a 3-minute video. It's not very long. But it's a wrestler, ringside. And the guy's asking him, the camera guy or something, he's like, hey, how do I get this guy started? Where's his button at? So the chick comes over and it's somebody who was filming with a cell phone. They had to have known, though, giving us these would do this. So I'm not convinced that the individuals we see on TV, and I don't know why there's different ones. Yes, I do believe there's androids. Yes, I do believe you would call them more like synthetic humans or something, synthetic humanoids, but they're mechanical on the inside. So they're robots. Watch some old movies. Watch Total Recall and how real all that stuff looks and unedited. I just can't believe people are believing this stuff with the grainy pictures and the audience pictures of half the audience being overlaid. It looks like really bad TikTok stuff. Like, I don't know how else to say it. And this goes back to what I was saying last month. I did a video on calibration. This is why you were seeing these content farms and all these content creators showing you the same video compilations over and over and over again. Make your own art, guys. Because again, that's not supposed to be legal. You're not supposed to be allowed to do that. You're supposed to give creators credit when they create something. This is how it's all satanic. Like that's satanic to mark up somebody else's artwork or to change their writing or artistry. Like this is all very anti-human, all of it. I'm sorry, sometimes I get lost because it's so much and there's so much to go over. Okay, so I think there are droids, and we're going to do a deep dive into animatronics. I think that wax figures might be used at the morgue. I think morgues are illusionists as well. A lot of them, at least in our current day, which would point to it being Satan's short season. But again, I don't know. I'm not a theologian. I'm not a teacher. Like, this is me ruminating and figuring stuff out and passing the ball on to somebody else and saying, all right, you take this and run with it, and I'll see what you guys come up with in a couple weeks later. This is why we're supposed to be sharing information like a puzzle. If we all are sitting at the same table in front of the same puzzle, but one of us has a piece stuck in our pocket, well, that's just great. We get through all that work and we have everything except for one. So the whole picture's off. And that's kind of what we're dealing with here, because that's one of the tactics of a war, is to divide the people. You don't want the people talking amongst themselves, because then they can organize. This is why organizing and gathering is usually against the rules in times of war. You have to go to work and you go straight home. Do you have your papers? If you don't have your papers, you're not allowed to travel. That's why RFB talking about, oh, I travel all over. Yeah, but not everybody is. You're one person. They are highly discouraging most people from traveling, either because of work, because of money, because of the price of gas, because of all these incidents you're seeing on planes. They've done everything except come right out and tell us we're at war. And you should ask yourself why. And why the world's suddenly so quiet in a lot of places. All right. So a few more things. The reason that this would also be damage control at this point. And again, I got a lot of these clues and stuff on shows like Dateline and binging and turning the sound down, just watching the pictures, looking at the pictures that they give us. I just, as a wife and a mother, I'm appalled at what I'm saying. No normal wife or mother behaves that way. I don't care how many of her cliquey people come to her defense. She's an actress. Trump knows her. She was Miss Arizona. Trump owns all of the beauty pageants in America. Like, he runs them. So you tell me, if he was a real individual, who took Mr. Kirk out? I'm not saying anything. I'm just asking questions, and we should all be asking questions. If you're not asking questions, you're negligent. And if you're negligent in a time like this, people lose their souls. Souls, not just their earthly life, their soul. I don't think that's anything to sneeze at or laugh at. They have to keep everybody entertained, and they have to keep everybody thinking that this is a new system that they're going to start, because they know everybody's going to want to know where all the missing children have gone. And we should have nothing else on our mind. Oh, there goes the squirrel. But getting in those tunnels and going to find our people. Like, that's what it should be. Nobody wants to do it. I don't even care if you go get in the tunnels. We need to demand answers. Where do all these people go? Some of them, they turn into politicians. I showed you that with Mara Molly's story. So are they just AI? Some of them, I think, are. Okay, so that means we've got synthetic humans. And if you don't believe me, look at Kensington Street videos. Watch them over and over and over until you get what I'm saying. Because I saw it in somebody's thumbnail. I told you these people talk to each other. And sometimes it's in their thumbnail pictures. They're all shutting down. Those are the droids. You're going to see those. Like, I don't know if it'll be revealed, but anyways, yes, we have synthetic people. Clones, I don't believe in. Like, I don't think you can create a human body unless you have some type of spirit. But another word for clone is simply twin, and we do have IDF. You have to ask yourself what spirit is in some of these bodies. But again, let me preface this. I'm not promoting violence of any kind. This is why they need us to react. This is why they're stirring the pot, because they don't have legal rights to do us harm. So it's all a psych out game. It's all a fear factor game. It's all scare tactics. Unless you give them the right, a lot of people don't understand their own sovereignty. So if someone comes to the door and says, come with us, they're going to be like, okay. No. I'm living my life. You have no rights. And if America is as big as they say it is, they can't really, it's never been able to run without some type of surveillance. And again, if you come back to that, you have to ask yourself who put that here. But our biggest question should be now, there should be no unsolved crime. I'm pretty sure prisons, because they're privately run at this point, I'm pretty sure that everyone who's being arrested, and I said this before, they're being arrested because that's the only safe place to be above ground. If they kick off this civil war, this civil race war that our Albert Pike wanted, and he was a 33rd degreer, and his letter's public, I've talked about it ad nauseum. Some of this stuff you got to go find yourself. Albert Pike, go read his letter. He wanted a race war. He wanted a religious war to do away with all of it. One ring that controls them all. And that's not really a euphemism. Unfortunately, that plays into a lot of this. This is why you're seeing people that seem to have the same personality, because they're straight up being used as avatars. I don't want this video to get too bizarre, but understand we have been under surveillance for a very long time. You don't believe me? Start paying attention in your day. Start paying attention. How is it I left my little small Ohio town and I drove a few hundred miles away and saw somebody that I'd just seen the day before? These things aren't coincidences. Go onto Reddit. Go search it on there. Strange town, prop town, America fake town. Go look it up. We've talked about that too. It's very possible if the elites have one underground, and I hate calling them that. I only call them that because I think the synonym is funny. ELEATS. Yeah, they sure do eat. What do they eat? I can't remember what I was going to say now because I laughed at myself. Is that everything? So we cover all the moving parts of that? You have to learn how they talk and the messages that they're giving, okay? Somebody said that Charlie Kirk's dad was the architect for Trump Tower. Well, that's a fallacy. That's not even true. But why would Wikipedia say that? The word architect. They were brothers. They were Freemasonic brothers. It doesn't, they're telling you the truth, but it's not in the context that you think you know it or you understand it. Okay? It's very possible that if they did go into bunkers or whatever, that we are their entertainment, that we are in the Hunger Games. This is why stay safe, stay strong. It sounds like such a cult thing to say now. People know I feel this way. They saw probably the announcement that the channel was going to go live, and I had bots all over the channel suddenly. They hate me, and they well should. I hope they do. You took my family. You decimated my life in big part. Yeah, I cooperated. I don't want to see anyone else go through this stuff, and I don't want to see anyone come to blows with their family about these bad actors. They're horrible at what they do. Horrible. And I don't know how long it's been since we had an actual real president, or if we've even had one in my generation at all. They all start enacting. And again, a lot of these places that you see in our news, it's always Chicago, LA, New York. Aren't you guys sick of living where everything is fake? Football's fake. Baseball's fake. That's all scripted. It's coming out. Oh, well, it's still good. You still got to be a good athlete. They're destroying your heroes right before your eyes. That's all part of the agenda too, though. They want to destroy us and remake us in their image. We can't allow that. Let it all fall down. It's a wicked system anyway. Let God rebuild you and your family. The real God, not the God who promotes division and violence. God said, go forth and multiply. He never said, divide yourself. Something snuck in between us, in between humanity, in between mankind. These people are not your peers. Doesn't matter how much money you give. Doesn't matter how many people join Turning Point. It doesn't matter. You're doing exactly what they want to do. They want loyalists, and if they know a draft ain't gonna fly with people my age still around, so they want people freely enlisting. Because we're about to go to overt war. Right now it's covert. But that's what they're gearing up for, is all-out war. And the people who are YouTubers who've been in the military, shame on them for purposely telling you misinformation. They might not say we're under martial law, but it's pretty darn close. The only thing we still have is the mail, and there is no curfew all over. But you see, the lights are going out in a variety of different places. It's like, I don't know what game, but it's kind of like, they're doing something here and something there. Because I was looking, I'm like, well, what if you wanted to move someplace? Where would you go? What state has decent laws? Or, if you care about that, where would you go? Well, you've got this one that has the V exemptions, but it also allows baby sacrifices. So where do you go? Well, I'm going to give up this for that. No, don't participate in this anymore. Don't give them your attention. Don't vote. Don't give them your children. Shut the crap off. Shut it off. If you have children under 18, take the phones. Take the tablets. Be done with it. I'm not even kidding. It all ruined my family. All of it. Well, my children are better. My children can be trusted. I hope so. I hope so, but I doubt it. I doubt it. When you put that in the person's hand, you're putting sin in their hand. You're putting, and I hate to even use stupid word, you're putting porn in their hands. You're giving it to them. And it's muddling their minds. And something else is reaching in from the back end because they want to reform this generation in their image. They want loyalists. We're going from a covert Big Brother system to an overt Big Brother system. What I want you to pay attention to is the fact that this is all damage control. The demon syndrome came after people started noticing a change, right? It's damage control. If time weren't in reverse for me, some of these things I wouldn't even see. And I'm not getting into that in this video. If you don't know what I mean, ask and I'll give you a brief comment, but I've talked about it in videos. And some of us are just like that. Because I found that I'm not alone. I'm just the only one who describes it that way. We all use different words. What you're going to see next then, depending on how she goes over with the public, I saw a comment under one of her videos yesterday. Because again, I vet people. And it said, this is your time, girl. Whenever you're ready, you come back and you're just going to shine. The enemy came after you. And I'm thinking, how can this person, and it had over 1,000 likes, how can this person think that that is even slightly appropriate after her spouse just died? Did he? Was he your spouse? Was she just a tech? A handler? I told you a while ago when this new Trump came that I'm pretty sure he's a droid because of what Elon posted and showed us. He showed us. Just because, and everybody believes these things. And we go right back to it. We say, don't trust the media, don't trust the media, don't trust the media. Oh, look what they're showing us. This must be real. We have a case of insanity all across the board, all of us. And I see comments from other countries that see us and watch us. Some people are praying for us. Some people are laughing at us. But everybody knows in ways that we don't. Because when you're in it, it's harder to see and you need somebody else to help point it out to you. Pay attention. And you'll see what I mean. Say certain things out loud at certain times just to see who notices. Say out loud, right after the video or a little while later, especially if you're listening to me with earbuds. Say something like, boy, I could really go for some chocolate ice cream. See what happens. See if somebody don't bring you some. Because we're either under surveillance or there's demons everywhere or everybody's psychic. Those are the only options. And trust me, I've been down them, up, down, sideways, inside out. I've been going over every possibility. This is the one that makes the most sense. We've been under surveillance for a long, 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 long time. Or it's demons. And I believe in demons, but I don't think they operate that way. And I'll go one better. I'm going to do a video. We're going to do a dive into, I'm pretty sure if we're on a different frequency than the demonic, I don't think they can see us. I think they can just hear us. And I think that's what some of these movies have been telling us. They have a hard time seeing, especially in the light. This is why they want to terraform things. This is why they want the sun covered up. It's too bright for them. This is why all the sunglasses. Who is they, them? That's debatable too. I say the fallen, you might say aliens, whatever. They're not mankind. And they're doing a real bad job at faking it at this point. And you have to keep calling them out because they hate beyond anything. They hate exposure. So the more we call this stuff out, the more their plans are fizzled. And eventually you resist the devil enough and he flees. All right, this video has been long enough. Thank you so much for being here. I hope some of it made sense to somebody. I hope you can take things away. And if you can add anything, please have conversations in the comments. I don't turn them off or anything like that. We need to discuss things as a community, as a society, however many there are of us left. And I think that number dwindles all the time because, again, people don't understand their sovereignty. They're giving consent to be ended. And I wouldn't advise doing that, especially if you're not done baking in the spiritual department, if you're not ready to graduate. All right. I love you guys. Have a blessed day. Please go out and spread some joy. Thanks for being here. Bye, guys.